Hey, Weird War Weirdos, it's Brian again. It's Wednesday. It's Weird War Wednesday. I haven't done a Weird War Wednesday in a while. Try to get back into that. So I'm gonna try to do something live every Wednesday to keep all the weirdos satisfied and happy. Because shit, us weirdos, we gotta hang out sometimes together. Because it's just what we do. We're weird, so we gotta hang with the weird. All right, guys. So what we're gonna do is, remember last time I was going through my intended, games of weird World War II campaigns starting in 1930 and moving forward. Okay, so we got from January to June 1930. Okay, so I thought we'd pick up where we left off. Okay, let's see where we're at here. Let's see. First, again, guys, if you want to follow along, what I usually do is I go to Wikipedia and I just plug in 1930, and I go to just the events section of that, and I kind of go down and whatever and whatnot. I've been doing a lot of outside, like other than this, I've been doing some just reading about 1930, and then just reading on uh, more information on some of the stuff that we come across and get a little bit more in depth, you know, um, uh, knowledge on certain events, a little bit more detailed than what Wikipedia offers. So we got that. So let me see if I can show the screen here. I think there's things you can do here. I am not. What does this say? This says screen save. I don't know if I want you guys to see all my shit on my screen. I got a lot of weird stuff on the screen, right? Be displayed here. Okay. Anyway, yeah, fuck it. You guys can just follow along on the Wikipedia. Okay, so July. So we're doing July here. I should probably go get my glasses real quick, okay? Because I probably need them. Yeah, fuck it. I think I can see this pretty good. All right, so we're picking up at January or July. Excuse me, July. Let me see what my notes. I got this giant. This is my Weird World War II campaign notepad. When I'm at work and there's nothing happening, I'm on my phone and I'm reading about bullshit and trying to come up with cool ideas on games to play and whatnot. Okay, so let's jump on here. There's some cool stuff happening, but nothing like weird warish. Oh my goodness, July 5th, the Seventh Lambeth Conference of Anglican Bishops say that um, uh, they move away from the Christian views on birth control. There's dissension in the ranks. A lot of like right wing movements are rising across the planet. Mostly, well, Europe, Finland, Norway, Sweden. All these places are starting to go fascist, or there's a far right like movements are moving towards that direction. Let me see if we're on. Make sure we're on at the other locales. Yeah, everything's on. Streaming, sending data, whatever that means. Okay, YouTube should be good. Okay. So, yeah, right. Anyway, I don't know what that is, but anyway, okay. So 1930. Here we go. So, for you cricket players, Don Bradman scores a world record 309 runs in one day. See, I don't even know what that fucking means. Honestly, guys, I'm completely ignorant on cricket. Never played it, never watched it. I mean, I've seen it like in movies, people hitting the shit and running back and forth to the sticks or whatever the fuck. I don't know anything about it at all. None. Oh, July 13th. Here we got FIFA World Cup begins. The first goal ever in FIFA, sports was from Lucien Loren, scores the first goal for France against Mexico. There you go. For all you soccer/football fans. What we got here? Let me see what I wrote. If I have it, I don't think I have anything for July on my notes. I don't. The next thing I have here is for where are we at here? Is shit September or no August. Here we go. Okay, so here's an interesting. So in August 1930, the volcanic island of Anak Krakatau begins to form permanently in the Sunda Strait. Okay. So I put in here on one of this forms. Let's see. I'm going to say this is like, I wrote notes here that this is like a deep ones event. Okay. Whatever happened, the deep ones are creating this island, right? As like a surface, either like just like, a surface, hide, the hides that are underground, whatever the fuck. So it has but it's going to be like deep one. And I'm trying to think, it's almost going to, I think I want it to turn out to kind of be like Skull Island. But the problem is like, how do you keep like people from going to it and looking at it, right? So you like in Skull Island, you could have that mist all around it or whatever, or like turbulent waters and all that stuff. But I'm sitting here, I'm like, maybe there's some sort of like, maybe there's some sort of poisonous gas emanating. Like it's a volcano, right? So it's emanating, fucking volcano ash and steam and the gases from it. So maybe that's enough to like, maybe it's a deep one, ruse, and it's toxic, right? So you have like this toxic cloud above their island here. But I don't know. It's something to think about. I wrote so they do say, so on my notes here I said deep one surface outpost, they attack a research vessel and 3 private onlooker boats. So in the article that I'd read about it, people, pleasure cruisers and like scientists are going out there to check it out, and the deep ones like, attack. So, that's something that's big. That'd be a cool like skirmish games where you have like kind of like Pope Alley-ish, how Dave does, like kind of like it's just like a boat and like things are trying to jump on it and like kill you or whatever. You can do something like that. You do it on like a big, like, the research vessels and the private boats. So that might be fun. You don't really have really armed people. Maybe you have a guy with a pistol or shotgun or some shit, but there's not like soldiers on it. That might come later after these people get wasted. And then like the military responds, and then, it might escalate. So that's it's a cool starting point for like the deep ones in that area. So I think that's a cool, I tried to find some pictures of it, but I couldn't find any pictures of this island up there. But I guess it's still around. It's just, it's like a fucking, it's not like totally awesome or anything, but it's there. All right, so that was when was it? That was it starts forming in August. All right, so this is an interesting one. Okay, on August 12th, the Turkish troops move into Persia to fight the Kurdish insurgents. Shit, that's still going on fucking now, guys. You got the Kurds and the Turks fighting it out. Now that's interesting because what we can do is we can create whole fucking storylines with the Turks versus the Kurds, right? And maybe the Kurds have a superhero of some sort, super, and they're kicking the shit out of the Turks, or whatever it might be. So that'll give you an excuse to buy some like World War I Turkish troops, maybe some I don't know, some sort of like Middle Eastern insurgent looking, troops for the Kurds. And you can have some really cool like small skirmish battles. Let me see what I wrote here. Turkish troops moving to Persia to fight Kurdish insurgents. I put 3 skirmish and engagements. So that's like, so I'll do like 3 small battles. They don't stay there long. They kind of kick ass and they leave. If I remember correctly, they're only there for a few months and then they leave. So that, that's kind of interesting. You have the Kurds versus the Turks. So you can, do that for your gaming. And again, this is weird war. So maybe the Kurds, like I said, the Kurds have a super of some sort. They're kicking shit out of the Turks and it escalates, right? All right, then what do we got next here? We got here we go. So military junta takes Peru. That's kind of a political thing. It's not so much military, like big combats or whatever. Now, what's interesting about 1930s South America is it's fucking going crazy, guys. Like I think it like Colombia's fighting shit. Peru and Bolivia and Paraguay are fighting, and also the Chaco War. There's tons of fucking conflicts happening in South America in the 30s, in the early 30s. So there you go. You have you have an excuse now to track down South American minis and like vehicles and playing campaigns that no one fucking else. I don't know anybody. I've been doing this for 40 fucking years. I have never seen anybody play like a South American conflict, like versus South America, like South American nations fighting each other. Never seen it. I've seen Mexico. I've seen some Mexican like bandits fighting federales kind of shit, but I've never seen Paraguayans versus the Ecuadorians or whoever, whatever it is, right? I've never seen that, but it happened. These countries have armies. They're not like massive armies, but they're uniformed armies. So that'd be interesting to do the research, to find what they look like, try to find some minis for them. I know somebody now with the STLs and stuff, somebody's making miniatures for it. So there's something there you can do. Okay, so we got that. So that's something to look into. You can. All right. So what do I got next here on my notes? 9-3. Let's see. Okay, so in September, there's a big hurricane in the Caribbean, right? Around Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic. That just kills the shit out of a bunch of people, right? I think it killed like over 8,000 fucking people, this hurricane that swept across right here. Most of them come from Santo Domingo, right? So look, guys, this is a Weird War Fantastic. This is a fantastical timeline for Weird War II. And these are real world fucking instances and shit. So if this is beyond your fucking abilities to hang, don't fucking watch, because we're gonna twist history. We're gonna use horrible tragedies like this to make wargaming fucking scenarios. So if it's too much for you to handle. So what I wrote in my notes here for this big hurricane, I said need some kind of mythos event in Santo Domingo to cause the San Zenon hurricane that killed up to 8,000 people. So these catastrophes can be a reason of something. You could play a game of Achtung Cthulhu, or you can play or just like any kind of like mythos kind of role-playing game. And if you're successful, nothing happens. If you're not successful, the hurricane happens and kills all the people. And maybe something else happens in that area. Maybe the cult is bolstered by the offering of all these casualties to their god or gods or whatever. Maybe they were doing it, or maybe there's a super involved of some sort that's infused with more power because he's successful, because of the offering and whatnot. So it's a horrific event that can be used in for a mythos, a ritual. All right, what do we got here? So next I put, this is interesting. So flight R1. Okay, so what is this? 10-5. So we jump over to October 5th. Okay, this is interesting. British airship R101, the world's largest flying craft, crashes in France en route to India on its first overseas flight, resulting in a loss of 48 lives with 6 survivors. Those killed include Britain's air minister. Okay, that's heavy, dude. That's like the air minister's been killed
in a tragic accident, right? Well, I put on my notes here. I said flight on R-101 airship secret agent game. Maybe there's assassination plot to kill the air minister. Maybe there's some sort of mythos thing. Maybe there's, you can go political. You can say fascist or anti-British agents, fascist agents, commies. You could have cultists. You could have whatever, and you can play it out like either like a small skirmish game where a small group of people try to take over the blimp, and there's a scuffle and fucking crashes, or maybe they don't kill the air minister. Maybe he's like kidnapped, or he's used as an offering, or they interrogate him to give out British whatever. So you can really come out with some sort of event that caused the crash instead of just a tragedy happening. There's a reason. You can play this out as a reason why that happened. It's a big old fucking blimp too. I found some pictures of it. It's a beast. It's like big. All right. So what do I got next? So this is an interesting one. I put a note on here. October 14th. There's something called the Ståhlberg kidnapping. Okay. The former president of Finland and his wife are kidnapped from their home by members of a far-right Lapula movement, but released unharmed. That could be some sort of like catalyst, for maybe a civil war or something going on. Finland's having a lot of problems in the 30s, guys. Finland, like for real. I mean, I've been reading. I'm in 1933, like doing some research, and Finland's having some issues. But that could be maybe a rescue mission. Maybe they weren't released unharmed. They were rescued. You could have covert, Finnish, commandos or army units. Not that they had commandos then, but you could have like elite army guys going in to rescue these people, or it could be some sort of role playing event, whatever you want to do. So that's kind of an interesting. That might be something that you can play with. Maybe pull out your old top secret RPG and play some sort of some sort of spy mission to infiltrate this group and then like save them instead of them just being released, or you convince the people to release them or whatever. So be interesting to check out. All right, so what do we got next here? So there's another fucking there's an earthquake. I take that back. There's a okay, yeah. So November 25th. I need to write this down. I didn't write that down on my fucking notes. The date here. So November 25th, okay, an earthquake in Izu Peninsula of Japan kills like over 200 people and destroys 650 structures. Dude, that's fucking massive. Yeah, so Mount Merpa erupts in central. Oh wait, that's something different. So yeah, so you got a big earthquake in Japan that kills a bunch of people, right? Maybe that's again some sort of mythos game, or maybe it's a soup that got out of control. Maybe the Japanese secret police finally tracked down that guy they've been wanting to like press into service, and he like fights back and causes this, or maybe something stirs deep within the earth, kaiju like, and escapes and kills the people and destroys the city as it does so. And then this is the cover up story. So I mean, just you pretty much do fucking whatever you want. That's pretty sweet. It's a good I mean, again, I'm not diminishing the tragedy, but we're using these tragedies as a game fodder. Let's see what we got here. Hold on, I guess. If anybody's on, let me know if you guys can hear me or not in the messages. All right, then I got so in December 19, Mount Merpa or Merpai erupts in central Java, killing like 1,300 people. Another fucking volcano erupts, kills a bunch of people. kills, destroying numerous villages. Again, that can be used as some sort of mytho influence, or that could be some sort of super, or maybe whatever you want. But that could be, or it could be like an escape game. Like, a lot of this stuff can just be alternative gaming. Instead, look, guys. So like, I fucking hate tournament-based play. I fucking hate it. Army lists. And it's like, oh, you can only have, one support if you have two. Man, fuck all that. I mean, if you look at, like, let's just say Bolt Action, because this is the biggest thing in the room. It's like you got a platoon of troops. It's like, you got a platoon, but it's not really a platoon. You got your headquarters unit, and you got like 2 squads. That's like an understrength platoon in most armies of the time, right? And, when you talk about like heavy weapons, like platoons, you're talking a shit ton of heavy weapons, man. Not just like one tripod mounted, medium machine gun. No, it's like fucking, 8 of them or 5 of them with all like, 10 troops per gun, and it's just dumb. It's just fucking dumb. And then like, oh, you can have, it's like, I got an army, I got a badass, I got an airborne British. I watched the game the other day. It was like, he was playing airborne British, right? But then he had a fucking, he was playing all airborne, and he had like well bikes, which is cool. That's, that's airborne. The Brits had the well bikes. And then he had, and he even had like a Wasp, a universal carrier, the flamethrower version. I can maybe see that. Maybe, one of the gliders dropped it off, and that's why they have access to this fucking thing. But then he has like one of those anti-aircraft tanks. I'm like, what the fuck? Where did that come from? This is supposed to be an airborne unit. Where did this tank come from? You kept to the story. You kept to your story. You're airborne. And then all of a sudden, there's a fucking tank. It's like, what? It's dumb. It's fucking stupid. Anyway, so like, play some shit that you normally wouldn't play. Play like a rescue mission. You know what I mean? Don't play games where like I'm gonna secure this block in the middle of this, 12 inches from the left and 13 inches from the right type of shit. Have a fucking game. Have a real fucking game instead of just coming up with these stupid ass armies and like playing against each other. You're just playing the rules against each other. You're not playing stories. You're not. I mean, they're forgettable. They're forgettable. There's I don't know. That's just my opinion. I played that shit for a long time, and it's just boring. That's why people min-max, and they do, they get into like, manipulating the army lists and shit because it's fucking boring. That's all they think they can do. They don't fucking play like, okay, I'm taking an airborne army. It's all fucking airborne, dude. There's no tanks in an airborne army. There's not. I mean, because unless they're being used as infantry, like they've already dropped and they've been, rounded back up and they're being used as infantry. That's something different. But if you're talking about they just landed and they're trying to get to their objective, they're not going to have fucking tanks. They might have like, maybe some of those airborne tanks. I mean, maybe. But those are so few and far in between. And most of them just crashed in the damn glider. They weren't worth a shit. When you had like the, was it the Locust? Then you had like, I can't remember. The Americans made a airborne tank. They never used it, but the Brits used it. So I think it was the Locust. They had like a 37 mil or maybe a 40 on it. I can't remember what it was. But yeah, it's like, I mean, you can have something like that. I mean, that makes sense, right? You have one of them survive the landing and he's able to muster into, this army. But like, oh yeah, I got a couple Shermans, in my British airborne army. They just landed. It's just like, what the fuck? Nuts. It's fucking crazy. But anyway, whatever. But again, if it's airborne infantry that's being used as infantry with other units, that's completely different. But I don't know. It's fucking weird. It's just that army list gaming is fucking dumb. It's just stupid. It's like new player thing. It's like, people aren't evolving in their gaming. They're just stuck in this fucking tournament based shit. It's like there's more to it. Put role playing in your wargaming. Do something different. Have crowd control. You gotta protect the civilians as well as fight off the enemy. There's civilians have their own motivations. There's a fucking gas main blows up, or there's a fire, dude. Forest fire. You're fighting. Fucking field catches on fire, and your troops are in the field. Get to running. Shit like that. I mean, it's just like it makes the game so much more fun than just like, oh, this is my list of 1,500 points versus your list of 1,500 points. Oh, but I have special rules. Dude, there was no fucking special rules in the fucking World War II. The best you had is like you had some different strategy, tactical, deployment. And you might have different kind of weapons, right? That's it. There was no like, oh, the Americans get extra, because they're self-loading rifles. They can move and shoot. Dude, every fucking army can shoot a gun while they're moving and shoot, It doesn't mean it's accurate, but they can do it, Shit, it's just dumb. It's just dumb. It's like, and the Brits get extra, I mean, and I'm just going off of like, bolt action, because it's the biggest, it's the elephant in the room, right? It's like, it's just stupid. It's like, I remember with the Finns, they had ski units and they could like move faster. Well, dude, fucking Germans had fucking ski units. The Americans had a fucking Arctic, division. The Italians, the fucking, everybody had some sort of fucking Arctic soldier that had sufficient skills and fucking skis. Not just the fucking Finns. I don't know. It's just dumb. Just dumb. Anyway, I'm ranting. But anyway, let's get back to 1930. What else do I got here on my notes here? And then this is interesting. So December 31st, okay, the Pope decrees, he has like a declaration, right? I can't say it right because it's in Latin. Okay. So what I wrote here, right? I said the Pope issues Directive 17, the formation of the what is this? The Halo Department. I just made up some shit. That's just a placeholder until something cool. To combat infernal and mythos threats across the globe. So with that, historical event, the Casti Connubii, issued by Pope Pius the 11th, stresses the sanctity of marriage, prohibits Roman Catholics from using any form of artificial birth control, and reaffirms the Catholic prohibition on abortion. Okay, so it's just like it's an exclamation, a proclamation about whatever, right? Well, secretly, he instigates this. So now we have another army we can build. We have some sort of holy see troops that can be used in like covert operations, maybe belligerents that may be fighting against each other might allow the Catholic elite soldiers to come in and help them with some sort of mythos infestation or some sort of infernal fucking maybe there's a demon about wreaking havoc, and they need the special skills of the Halo Department. There you go. See, I mean, and it's like, and people like, well, that's like Trench Crusade or whatever it is. I'm like, yeah, no shit. It's not like they're not doing anything unique, guys. People have been fighting demons and devils throughout fucking history, and in our gaming, we've been doing it D&D and World War II and ancient Rome and fucking Middle Ages, whatever. So and they also got an auxiliary thing. So this is interesting. So in I think it's in December somewhere, a Judge Joseph F. Carter disappears. Okay, so there was a famous saying in the 30s called "pulling a Carter." Okay, like comedians would use it, and it became kind of like a term, right? And what it meant was people would just vanish. It means like someone just disappeared. It's pulling a Carter. He's pulling a Carter. He vanishes. So what this guy was, this Joseph F. Carter guy, he was like a Supreme Court judge of like the New York, state Supreme Court, right? And he was a known like womanizer, and he was he wasn't a bad guy, but he liked to play with the girls, and he liked to go out and do the nightlife, and like the kind of party a little bit, right? But he was just that, like the day before he announced like this anti-corruption movement or something, and he was gonna instigate that, and then the next Monday, coming up, he was gonna start this whole new whatever, right? And then his last like appearance was like he got into a cab, he had dinner with his buddies, got into a cab, and he was never heard from again. It's kind of like a Jimmy Hoffa kind of thing. He just fucking vanished. And he's like a Supreme Court justice. I mean, he's not like just some dude off the street. He's like got a high position of power in the law enforcement. So he disappears. So and I made a little note here. I put Slaanesh cult offering. Slaanesh. I mean, he's into the the party. Maybe this could be a way to introduce a new cult, mythos-ish type cult into World War II as Slaanesh, who says that, we have to use, 40K world where we can just steal that shit. We just stick it in our World War II. That's what's so awesome about World War II, guys. You can do whatever the fuck you want, right? You don't have to follow anybody's rules but your own. So just do it. Jump in there and do something really freaking weird. All right, so that's all I got for 1930. Okay. Pretty active, like the years seem to have lots of fucking volcanoes and like some pretty drastic weather events. So that maybe there's a weather weapon. That could be a whole fucking campaign of like, either role playing or some sort of like skirmish where there's some big bad, creating some sort of weather weapon. And then these disasters that happen throughout the year across the world, it's him, using his weapon. So maybe you got like if you're gonna play a James Bond type of thing, you got to infiltrate, find it. You just come up with whatever the fuck you want. I mean, you can make it mini games. You can just do like a world. You can create your own board game if you want to. Like come up with some sort of there's some games. I've been watching this new guy. That was his damn. He's got this channel. Let me find that channel real quick, guys, because he plays like a lot of like different stuff, like really different stuff, which is cool, which is refreshing because we don't want to get stuck in like our gaming because it gets boring. We want to try some different shit, right? Or just rules that might have you go, oh, that's interesting. Maybe maybe I'll do that, or maybe I'll incorporate that into my gaming or whatever. Let me find it real quick. It is called. Where is it? Where is it? What the fuck? Let me get. Hold on a second. I'm sorry. This is amateur hour here. What is all this shit? Is this even my fucking? I'm on my computer that I'm normally not on. I don't know if I'm even on the right channel here. This thing's a piece. Hold on a second. Let me this thing. It's weird. This laptop is like it's like crooked or something, or it's warped. So like when I lay it flat on a surface, the mouse doesn't fucking work right. It's all jinxy. So I'm like, I gotta like figure out what the hell is going on. Well, let me find this guy real quick because he's cool. Let's see here. Let me find it. All right, so we got his name is. Let me find it. What the fuck? The Joy of Wargaming. Okay. Pretty cool dude. He's really like, he really pushes to like do other shit or whatever, but he plays a lot of different stuff. Anyway, he's playing this game called Hellfire Campaigns, right? it's like a game that allows you to like almost play like on a world level of like an evolving empire as it, things happen and you know whatever, and it's pretty interesting. But you could use something like that, like like you're talking about like your weather weapon thing. You could have like a worldwide kind of game that you could just create where like the weapons, let's say there's a communique to fucking Peru says, look, we're gonna fucking nuke your shit if you don't XYZ, right? And then it's like it's up to your secret agent team to try to locate it before Peru gets zapped, or track back the communication, and then like maybe it's whatever. So come up with your own shit. It'd be kind of cool. But anyway, that's something you can do, and you're all sticking within. You're responding to like 1930. This is the stuff happening in 1930 across the planet. Now there's tons of other stuff. I mean, like if you're in India, right? You could you have those resources, local resources that you can like get to better than I could, and you can just see what's going down in India in 1930. I know Gandhi's doing his stuff, and the Brits are sweating, and you got I want to say it's in, what is it, 33 or 32 is when the Pakistan fucking like movement begins, right? So later in the 30s, you got like was it northeastern India or north? I think it's northeastern, western. Anyway, that part of India wants to become, they're Muslim. They want to become Pakistan. So you got that, and you could alter that whole fucking thing and have like a civil war, or the Brits are freaking out, fighting both of them, or whatever the fuck. You can just go crazy. But these are all like, these are all reasons why you're having these games, is because of, the political infighting, or the invasions, or the monsters, or whatever the fuck it is. But just don't be afraid to crack open a history book. If there's something that interests you, like you start reading about the Chado, what is it, the Chado War? Let me find out real quick, guys. I'm doing 1930. I'm doing 1932 or 33 right now. Although, like, in 32, you have the Emu War, right? Where the Brits try to kill, or the Australians try to kill all fucking emus because they're getting out of control, and they fuck that up. But, there's like some guys have made games about the Emu Wars, and it's a real thing. I mean, it's like 1932. It actually happened. It was a complete clusterfuck. They didn't do anything. But like, so here we go. So there's the Colombian-Peru War. Did you guys know that Colombia and Peru were at war in 1932 with each other? It was like almost a year long. It was like 10 months long. They're killing the hell out. I mean, they were fighting each other over parts of the fucking rainforest. And then you got the Chaco War. You got the Han Lu War. That's like, it's like, okay, so these two warlords, Han and Lu, were two different generals in the KMT, military organization, right? They have their own private armies, right? And they fucking fight. They're fighting each other. It's like, warlord versus warlord, Chinese versus Chinese, and they're fucking part of the KMT. They're fighting each other. It's fucking bonkers, man. And that's in 32. But yeah, I mean, and that can be a massive campaign. You have Chinese fighting Chinese skirmish games, big old campaigns, big old battles. You can read into it. Taking over the cities, taking over the territories, whatever. So, but yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's really interesting too, because like, I'm learning a lot, because I studied history in college, right? I got a degree in history, and I miss this kind of stuff. I miss doing research. I miss doing. I mean, it's different environment in college, because you're forced to do it, and a lot of times it's stuff you don't want to fucking learn about. But I wasn't like that. I enjoyed all history, and I took a lot of lot of history, well, for my degree, but like just I bought books of shit that I didn't need to because I wanted because it was interesting. You know, if you learn something, you learn something in school, and you go out and you research it more, and you find out from that some other crazy shit, and whatever. So, like today, like here's a perfect example today. Let me find it real quick. I wrote it down here. Let's see what in 1932. Let me find it real quick. Okay, so what is that? In May 15th, 1932, okay. There's okay, so in Japan, there was a bunch of naval cadets, right? And they wanted to do like a military fucking coup. And they killed the fucking prime minister of Japan, right? They murdered him. And they were gonna kill a bunch of other people, but they only got this one guy. But check this out. So check this out. They intended to kill Charlie Chaplin, right? The famous fucking American, movie star, too, during the same attack. Because he was staying with this guy, right? And the only reason he didn't die was that Charlie Chaplin went to a sumo wrestling match with this guy's son, right? And the reason they were going to kill Charlie Chaplin is because he was so beloved of the United States that they hoped that his murder would cause, strife in the States against Japan, and the militaristic forces in Japan, that have recently taken over, and there's a war, right? So I mean, and what are my notes here? I put Charlie Chaplin is murdered during the May 15th incident, causing hate for the Japanese in America, and further causing a total freeze of all trade and sales with Japan, right? So there you go. You got a catalyst to possibly start the conflict between Japan and America before Pearl Harbor, right? So there you go. Killing Charlie Chaplin. And that'd be like killing, I don't know. I'm sure America, like, let's say Taylor Swift. Everybody like that chick? I don't fucking know. I've never heard a goddamn song she's ever said, but I mean, everybody just creams over this chick for some reason. But what if, she gets murdered in fucking wherever, and the government's just like, whatever, we don't care. Good. She deserved to die or whatever. So, I mean, the American people are pissed for whatever reason. I mean, I don't know if that'd take you to war, but it could start like, fanning the flames of, distrust and hatred for whoever, and, causing, more instances to happen to eventually get to some sort of armed conflict. Guys, it doesn't take much to fucking go to war. Jesus. It doesn't take much for fucking people to just fall blindly into the fucking fray and just, geez, doesn't take much. Yeah, but anyway, and then it's interesting. There's several submarines that mysteriously sink. There's a British one that sunk. It was interesting. It like we're getting too far. I just wanted to stick to 1930, but there's a lot of interesting, like, kind of weird things that happened. But okay, guys, I just wanted to jump in and just kind of go finish up our 1930. Lots of interesting things happening. Let's do a highlight. The big things is it's got the what I'm going to do is the Yanbai Mutiny. We talked about all that. We got the Amigo battle with the takeout Clyde Tombaugh, because he like discovers Pluto, and that's where the Amigo from. What else we got? That penitentiary fire, the Deep One island, the Turkish troops in Persia fighting the Kurdish insurgents, and then all the weird weather issues that are going on. That could be mythos or weather weapons or superheroes or some shit like super or kaiju. If there's some sort of kaiju causing trouble, that's what I'd say. Like that where is it, that mountain in Japan, that earthquake that happens in Japan, it could be like a kaiju waking up. Chicks would destroy 650 structures. That's a lot of fucking destroyed shit. And Judge Joseph Carter, telling you, maybe that could be a damn, that could be like a gangster game, like cops and robber game. Maybe you're a detective. You got to find Carter. Find Carter. He pulled a Carter. We got to find him. That could be role playing. There's lots of like detective role playing games out there. That'd be kind of fun. I should dive in. Some of these I should actually find some role playing games and play it out, like using that stuff. That'd be kind of cool. But all right, guys. So that's what I've got for 1930. And right now I'm in the process. I'll show you what we got going on. We'll do a shit on my table as well. So you're right here. I'll show you some shit on my table. So of course it's the same fucking shit on my table. There we go. So I'm still I finally got all those. That's all this stuff for the men buy. Mutiny. I'm putting ranks on everybody, and then I'm gonna start painting all that shit. And there's just some more. If you guys ever saw my Boo Boo games, the Boo Boo Tribe, I found a cool little tiki. Look at that tiki. You might dig this one. Look at that. It's like a tiki statue. That could be Tiki the Hut right there. Surfboard. Anyway, I said that was going to be the Boo Boos, like tribes god or something. That's like a. And then I found an old lady. Use her as Baba Yaga. That's kind of cool. I'm Baba Yaga. I'm gonna kill you. And then check these out. I found some like oil. That's pretty sweet. Little oil pumps. Never seen one of those before in board gaming. That'd be a cool objective. Secure the oil, whatever. I found pretty cool. I got a cool box set from a fan. Pretty sweet. The Soviet Daughters of the Motherland. It's a K-47 unit. It's like a big super soldier Soviet babes. I don't know if they're babes, but big Soviet women take you down. And I got myself a Union Jack. I'm gonna give this to one of our buddies of the channel for helping us out. Kind of cool. Give him a weird war character to play with. Pretty sweet. I think that's about it. Nothing too exciting. I've been working my ass off lately, guys, so I haven't done a whole lot. I need to. I just got some resin. I'll show you my resin. Got some resin. This was a fucking nightmare, guys. I got this off of eBay. Jesus. The guy, I bought it on the 14th. And then I got a message saying that. So it's it's like the 22nd, and I'm like, yo, where's my shit? And he's like, oh, here's the shit, right? Oh, no, he's like, let me ship it out. I'm sorry, we're running late. We'll ship it out. So he ships it out on the 22nd, right? And it arrives today on the 23rd. But it in the tracking when I pushed it, it said it was delivered on the 19th. Just a fucking clusterfuck. I mean,